are the awesome team VVVIP, and this channel is all about my amazing, interesting life as a British expat teacher, living and working here in Taiwan. Today's video should be pretty interesting for all of you, but is actually targeted towards foreigners currently living abroad, thinking of packing up their life, moving halfway across the world, and coming to work as a teacher here in Taiwan, in the heart of Asia, just as I did almost exactly 10 years ago. And the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that I have 2 cups of delicious Taiwanese jasmine tea. And nope, it's not because I'm feeling extra greedy, and no, it's not because it's buy one get one free today. On today's video, we have a special guest, and with my usual magic click of the fingers, we can welcome my good friend, Andrew. Andrew.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we have a guest on today's channel, and this is Andrew, let me get it right, Andrew Liu.
Yes, in the Chinese pronunciation, Liu.
And Andrew is my very long-term friend here in Taiwan. 3 days after I arrived in Taiwan, I actually met Andrew. And there's a good reason for that. And that's because Andrew was actually the agent that organized my job, my first job and my only job here in Taiwan. So Andrew is a very good friend, and I've invited him along today to discuss a few things that I wanted to talk about with you. So, first of all, Andrew,
yes.
with you. Want to introduce yourself to my 27,000 subscribers?
Okay.
No pressure.
No, sure. Hello everyone. I'm glad I have a chance to actually be here to also share some information and also experience with you guys. And as Ellen mentioned, we've been knowing each other for a very long time, maybe nearly a decade. So as you know, I'm Taiwanese. Okay. I'm originally from Taichung City. I got the chance to do my job, which is more like for a foreign teacher recruiting in Taiwan for the schools in Taiwan.
Andrew's job is recruiting foreigners from foreign countries into Taiwan to work as teachers as I do. And basically, Andrew is the agent, the middleman, who will work both for the schools and for the teachers and basically ensure both parties are kept happy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what we're going to do today, we're going to try and make it as easy as possible for someone thinking of coming to Taiwan to teach, try and give them as much information in as short a time as possible, and hopefully answer any questions that you have. Let's get to the rules of coming to teach in Taiwan. So which countries do you typically recruit from?
First, I should say that the most countries that teachers that schools are recruiting from, usually generally they are from UK, Ireland, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and America, and also Canada.
Is that the official rule?
No, this is not official rule.
Yeah, I think
no.
that's a myth that everyone says there's only these 7
No,
countries.
no. Like I said, I didn't say that those 7 countries are the only English-speaking countries can come to Taiwan for doing the English teaching job. No, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that for those 7 countries are most popular one.
Yeah.
If you are holding a passport which was issued by a native English-speaking countries, then, and also your qualification meet the bar, then you can still do it.
And what qualification
The
is
qualification
that
will be for 2 different types. Okay, type A, as long as you have a bachelor degree. But if you don't have a bachelor degree, maybe you are holding a 2 or 3 years college diploma, or for some kind of American school system, you may be holding something called AA, associate degree. Then in this kind of qualification, you must have a TEFL or CELTA certificate.
This is why I invited Andrew. Andrew knows the laws inside out.
And also, sorry, additional information for you. It's very important now is the Taiwanese government now will require a nationwide background check from your home country.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important. If, for example, in America, you need an FBI check.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So if you're coming as a teacher to Taiwan, get that first. That makes everything much easier, right?
Yeah.
And personality-wise, what kind of person makes the best teacher in your experience?
First of all, you need to check with yourself, like if you are actually easygoing enough, and also be willing to embrace yourself for some maybe the difference of culture, and not only just think everything in your own way.
Yeah, it's very easy to offend people here, and we'll come to that later. We've got a section on culture later, but yeah, I think the personality, if you're easygoing and open-minded, then you can definitely make it work in Taiwan.
That's right.
If you're too hard-headed and you're adamant that your way is the right way, then you're probably going to struggle to fit in. That's
exactly.
right? So there's the rules and what type of people make good teachers. Let's think about the practicalities. Now, the practicalities of coming here, your advice for people, their first day in Taiwan, what should they expect on that first day when they get here?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Good. Well, when you first arrived in Taiwan, well, obviously you will be in the airport of Taiwan. Immediately you will probably sense the air, the smell is totally different from where you are.
Yeah.
Okay? Because honestly, you need to realize that Taiwan is also an Asian country. Okay, maybe we are not that hot like other South Asian countries, but still, Taiwan is.
Be prepared
for that weather. For that, okay. And also like maybe even for your first day, if you get a chance to rest or have your own time, like before you report to work or before you start your job hunting, I would suggest that still take a walk in the street.
The first day you get here, you actually feel like the long journey, you just want to sleep, which of course you don't need to rest before work, but should be excited to get out and experience some of the culture before you start working. Okay, let's think about like financially. Do people need to come here with a lot of money before they start working?
No. I wouldn't say it's wise for you to bring a ton of cash with you. But still, it's also smart to bring some cash with you. But I would say maybe in general, like you something from 1,200 to 1,500 US dollars. They should do.
Yeah, because you also need to think about, you're moving to a new country, you need to rent an apartment.
Yes.
So maybe you need a deposit for your apartment.
Yes.
Rent here is pretty cheap.
Yes.
In fact, if you check out my other videos, which I'll put a link up here somewhere, I go through all of the costs of living in Taiwan, so you get to see how cheap it is. But yeah, if you come here with a bit of money, start to get yourself set up, that should be enough. Okay, on to the next section. Oh, problems. Okay, the problems people face. I'm going to ask Andrew, what is the typical problem? The typical problem, not the biggest problems, but usual problems people face here.
First of all, in Taiwan, people tend to deal with things indirectly.
Oh yeah, they beat around the bush.
They would beat around the bush, okay? But they didn't mean it in any, like a way like want to trick you for that. For Taiwanese, like we were raised, we were taught like you shouldn't be so direct into like maybe in the rude way or something.
The Taiwanese people you will deal with are your co-teachers and your boss, maybe your agent, and another key one is landlords.
Yes, landlords.
Landlords, again, these are generally not English speaking, generally, but that can be a lot of confusion. So maybe if they have a problem with you, they won't tell you directly, and it will lead to some kind of argument when in fact there is no argument to be had. So be prepared for a little bit of give and take with misunderstandings. That's definitely a problem that I've faced.
And can I also add something like also when it comes to money, why? And Taiwan is not a poor country. Okay, so in the way, like you shouldn't need to be so defensive about like when it comes to money. What I'm trying to say is that there's never an intention for any of them to try to like trick you for money. That's
a really, really good point, because the amount of times I've been around a bar or a coffee shop, we often chat about our schools and our landlords, and it's often the case, especially with first-year teachers, they will talk about their landlord or their boss tried to scam them out of some money. And again, often it's just some misunderstanding or very unlikely that you will be scammed or tricked here. Andrew will often get this kind of situation, I think, and he'll go between the boss and the teacher, and often he will find it's usually the same problem, some misunderstanding. And okay, one more thing, I want to talk about the biggest problems.
Okay.
Recently, you may have seen in the news in Taipei, there was a pretty rude foreigner. Have you seen the story?
Yeah, the finger.
I was almost about to blur your finger. Yeah, there was a foreigner got himself into a bit of trouble. I don't know the guy personally. It happens to the best of us. We all lose our temper sometimes, but Have you had any specific big examples of things you've had to deal with?
For that kind of news events, I would say for that foreign, for the young foreign lad, I think literally he was just lost.
Yeah, he lost his temper.
Yeah. But again, it's just this is also part of some like a cultural difference.
So, what would be your advice to me or that guy in that circumstance?
Okay, if it's up to me and I had a chance to maybe give a suggestion to the guy.
Yeah.
Well, first thing is to cool yourself down and try to explain yourself, clearly and with a good manner. Express why you were being like that.
Yeah.
For that moment. I would say 90% chance that actually the other one who got treated by you in that way, they usually will just say, okay,
Yeah, forgive you.
So don't just always shield up for yourself and try to get ready for a battle or something.
Yeah, don't keep fighting.
It's gonna be pointless.
Yeah, that's really good advice. The Western way is to just keep fighting until you win, but ultimately you're never going to win as a foreigner in this culture.
No.
It's still a very traditional culture, so the best thing you can do. Even Taiwanese people have bad days. I've seen Taiwanese people shouting in the streets, road rage, and ultimately all the other person wants is an apology and an explanation of how bad your day was. That's pretty much the best advice, right? So but I hope that guy sorts his situation out.
I hope so too.
I hope he has a better day. So Okay, so talking of culture, this is my next section. What do you think is the best part of Taiwanese culture that foreigners enjoy?
Again, you may find it's actually not difficult at all for you to fit in. Sure, you can still stick on with the idea making friends with other foreigners in Taiwan. Soon enough, you can also realize that it's really, really good for you to have a few local friends.
As you say about fitting in with Taiwanese culture, you will, at the moment, we will always be the 外国朋友.
Yes.
You're always the foreign friend.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing because people here are proud to have a foreign friend.
And also, like when I say you can fit in here easily, I don't mean that you need to be exactly like Taiwanese. No.
Impossible.
Impossible. Yeah, exactly. But at least show the understanding and also show the interest that you would like to know better about Taiwanese culture.
Yeah. I think from my experience, the best thing about Taiwan is definitely the people. Do you need to learn Chinese to live here?
Well, the answer is no. You don't need to learn Chinese to be able to live in Taiwan. Okay, but again, it wouldn't hurt for you to learn Chinese.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. My Chinese is pretty dodgy. I don't have any tone.
No, I think in Chinese it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what do I say? Nali. But early in my Taiwan life, my Chinese was actually almost non-existent, and I lived in like a foreign bubble, and that was fine. But only the past sort of 5-6 years have I genuinely embraced Chinese, and my life has kind of opened up, and I've met way more interesting people. So my advice, would be it's not necessary, but give it a go. Why not?
Yeah.
So on to the next question. So which would be the number one tip culturally for people coming here to avoid making mistakes?
My advice for you is that when you maybe have something you are not so sure about it, just ask. Just ask.
Yeah, I often do that. This is just a small example. Chopsticks. Chopsticks actually have quite a few different etiquettes that you shouldn't do, right? So for example, you shouldn't point with your chopsticks, because that's really bad, right?
Yeah.
Another one is you shouldn't put your chopsticks in your rice. And again, if you do that kind of thing, if you're the foreigner at the table, I think most Taiwanese will forgive you. Somebody maybe will mention it, but there's just lots of little details that you maybe will find out as you go. So, like Andrew says, ask. When you're with Taiwanese people, if you're in a certain situation, ask them what I should or shouldn't do in this situation. Almost going to finish now, but before we finish, I want to talk about the actual practicalities of being a teacher. Now, of course, Andrew isn't a teacher himself, but I think Andrew knows more foreigners than most foreigners know other foreigners in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So maybe you know what do you know about being a teacher? What does it take to be a teacher in Taiwan?
I would say if this is the first time for you to be in Taiwan, and I would say 70-80% of you could be a non-experienced teacher. So in that case, I would advise you, if you can choose the positions you would like to apply, I would suggest you should go for those would provide you for the training. Also, take the teacher training as some things more like a good positive benefit for you. You all are native English speakers, okay? But again, let's face it, it doesn't mean you know exactly how to teach English. Teaching English needs skills, and you need to learn skills. Also, like when you come to Taiwan for English teaching job, be prepared. Like the most of jobs, English teaching job, like I would say 90% of them, they are all for children English teaching. Okay, for fun, like maybe from very early age, like preschool to high school students.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of people expecting to come here teaching adults?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have to let that go. You have to let that dream go, because when you come here, you have to get on the floor, roll around, play with dice, play with fluffy toys, and sing kindergarten songs, and just embrace it. The adult teaching, there is a market for it, but generally I find that comes as you become more experienced and well known. You will maybe pick up like one-on-one tutoring adults. But those jobs of teaching business English are very few and far between.
For those adult teaching or business English teaching, it's more like I said, they have certain market for that. But again, those jobs usually would not be stable enough for you.
That's true,
for you to survive in Taiwan.
Okay, so that's some little tips and hints about actually being a teacher. I don't think there's anything more that we need to discuss. But in summary, how would you sum up the things that we've said? What tips would you say?
Number one, like Alan has been repeating this many times, being open-minded.
Yeah, come with an open mind. Don't need to bring a huge amount of money.
No.
Can come here and get yourself set up on a budget.
Yep.
Be prepared for misunderstandings.
Yeah.
That's one of the other things.
And also be aware of the culture shock will definitely happen.
Yeah.
And the key point is that when it happens, how you deal with it.
Yeah, so that's another summary. Be prepared for culture shock. And then if we come to things like actually about the job, is try and be as I would say polite and nice in your job.
Polite.
Don't come with a God complex that your English is perfect and you're better than everybody else. What I do want to say is if you're watching this video from America or Australia or England and you have any questions that need answering, then I'm going to put all of Andrew's company's details in the description below.
Thank you.
Your company's name is?
ELCO. ELCO.
If you want to leave a comment on the video, I'll make sure it gets to Andrew. You have a Facebook page or website?
Yeah, I can also share with you.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Even if you're just thinking about it, drop Andrew an email.
I'll be happy to answer questions, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
No,
so if this is the first video of mine that you've watched, then feel free to leave a like, feel free to subscribe. If you're thinking about coming to Taiwan, I've got a whole back catalogue of videos that you can go back and watch and see some of the things that foreigners get up to.
Follow him on YouTube, definitely.
I'm enjoying making the videos, I'm enjoying my life in Taiwan. So definitely subscribe, and if you're still watching, which means that you've made it to the very, very end of the video, then you've already qualified as a member of my team, VVVIP. Andrew's a member, and you can be a member too.
Yes.
So I think that's it. I think that's everything we've covered. All I'm left with to say is thanks to Andrew. Go check out his Facebook page, drop him an email, and I'll see you next time in my life in Taiwan.
Even see you in Taiwan.
See you in Taiwan. Bye-bye.
Bye.